about riding the wave and the changes.
Yes.
And I do intend to do so by being on top of that wave. However, can you give us a little bit of an explanation as to why things did not go as predicted?
To break the status quo.
And
to split the realities, to show you that the realities are split in a more concrete way, to actually begin the visceral experience of the splitting of parallel realities physically, not just now as an energetic metaphor, but to actually begin to physically experience the splitting into different parallel realities based on what different people prefer.
Then why were we told that at a certain point in time there was 88%?
Because that was what happened at that moment. Remember that you were not privy to the fact that later on, closer to the nexus point, what you call the election, other people were asking questions, had the percentages changed? And we said, now the nexus is in chaos. It is absolutely impossible to tell. Everything is up for grabs. You simply were not privy to those conversations.
Right.
But at the time we were asked, when we were asked, that was the probability. Remember that there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. There is only a sensing of the energy that exists at the moment the prediction is made, but that energy can change, as obviously it did. The main thing to focus on, which was always the main thing to focus on, was not the details so much, but what we originally said that was unlikely to change, which was 100% certain, is that everything would change in the fall of 2016.
And I understand that this is only the beginning and we haven't even hit the big stuff yet.
Oh, you are going to find more big stuff, but you're already seeing many different kinds of things. You have what you call your withdrawal from the European Union of England.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
You have your election, which happened in your country, which obviously breaks from the status quo and reveals many things that you didn't expect. You have different individuals, such as your Fidel Castro dying. If that's not the end of an era on your planet, I don't know what is. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Many more things will begin to shift and change. You will start to see them accelerate. And even some of the things that don't appear to be that big right now, as we have said before, will in time be recognized as the seed that started changing now that led to bigger things later. But many things are now shifting around in a variety of ways. It's getting relatively obvious if you just look around.
Okay. And I will get back to this in a minute. But
yes.
For the moment, will we get any feedback on the experiment that was presented in a meeting some time ago in Los Angeles about sending postcards into the president stay for 90-day period?
Yes, you will get feedback.
Okay.
Those of you who are unfamiliar with this, was simply the idea of the suggestion of every single day send a postcard to your government requesting in the most polite way that they disclose the presence of extraterrestrials. Every single day for 90 days in a row.
Right.
You can keep doing that.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay, so now is there any projected update on when first contact will happen?
At this moment, it is still in flux because things haven't settled from the breaking of the status quo. It is likely that it will not be later than 2040, but it hasn't settled back into the original window yet.
Okay. And we are at this time going through an awakening period.
Yes, you are.
Now those that choose, because of free will, not to awaken, what will happen to them?
As I said, you're beginning to experience the actual physical effects of a literal splitting into parallel realities. Now more than ever, you will begin to experience the idea that those of certain vibrations will begin to drift more and more farther apart from those that are vibrationally incompatible, and eventually, over time, will be ensconced in their own parallel reality and will no longer be experienced by those of a dissimilar vibration.
And are we experiencing that split by the deaths of a number of people?
Some of that, yes. Those that are also very, very, shall we say, representative or symbolic of the markers of change, such as the Castro individual that we mentioned. But you're also beginning to sense it in a variety of ways. You have recently discovered or coined a phrase that you call the Mandela effect, where people are remembering histories differently.
Right.
That's a sign of the splitting into parallel realities that have different histories. But right now, you're bridging different parallel realities. And so it's possible for you to recognize individuals that are actually experiencing different histories than you may be. After a while, each will go into their own history time stream that seems relevant for their parallel reality. But right now, you are experiencing a multitude of histories that are representative of a multitude of parallel realities. Therefore, you will have differences of experience of what you remember as your so-called history.
Okay. Now they say that the last unknown frontier is space.
No,
but some people
the
say
last
it's
unknown
underground.
frontier is within you,
Okay.
in your consciousness.
In the consciousness. Okay, but isn't also the ocean and underground another frontier that we really have not?
Of course, you are exploring the idea of your waters and you are exploring the idea of your space, but those are not the final frontiers.
But are there cities underground of alien population?
There are bases here and there, not cities in the way that you think of them.
Okay.
There are no real permanent habitations of that nature. There are bases, there are extraterrestrials that will come and go. You understand?
Yes, I think so.
But not cities as you understand the term in general.
Okay, but multitude of habitants.
Here and there, now and then, some on the Earth, some under the seas, some on your moon, some on Mars, in a variety of places throughout your solar system.
On the issue of religion versus spirituality, it has been said that there really is no religion, that was something instituted by the Anunnakis?
The
Anunnakis?
Anunnaki.
Yes.
In a sense, yes. If it were not for the relationship that was created by that group in ancient times, it is likely that you would not actually have the structure on your planet today that you refer to as religion.
Which is a control, and they say that is the control that the Anunnakis want to have over us.
That group, a few of them, wanted to have. It's not true of all of the ancient Anu.
Okay.
You must understand that they were pulled off the earth by the group that, in a sense, ruled over them when they found out what they were doing. And that's why humans were left to their own devices and then helped through some guidance from that point forward when it was realized that they needed to be allowed to develop in their own way.
But the religions, I believe, will soon be breaking apart.
They are breaking apart already. Can't you see that?
Yes.
They won't break apart for everyone. Again, it will be representative of whatever permission slips different people in different parallel realities prefer. But those that recognize they no longer need that permission slip will eventually find a reality without that reflection.
Okay. During the time of Eisenhower,
Yes.
apparently there was knowledge of extraterrestrial
Yes.
habitation on the Earth, and there were meetings held.
Yes.
And Eisenhower wanted to tell the public of
Not fully, no.
Well, there were powers that be that did not want him to say anything, so he didn't. But
Understand that this was simply a decision made through a variety of conversations. The kind of powers that be that you're referring to that may exist to some degree on your planet now didn't exist that way then. It was decided for a variety of reasons not to reveal the secret yet, but there was a plan and a timing to reveal it, and it is that has been diverted by those individuals who later on developed enough power to divert that plan. It wasn't something that was in existence at the beginning for the same reasons.
During those meetings, though, I understand certain individuals were allowed to attend, and one of the individuals was the producer of the series Star Trek, and that is it true that he incorporated a lot of things he became aware of into that series so that what we think of at times as science fiction in reality is reality?
In a sense, yes, but not exactly in the way that you've described it.
Okay.
Many of the people who worked on that particular television series, and of course the originator, simply had the ability to tap in to some of what was going on out here. And they incorporated much of that into their programming, such as things like the Prime Directive, the non-interference directive, which is a real thing.
Which you have stated, I believe, that it does no longer apply to the Earth.
It no longer applies to the Earth at this time. We are now taking our cue completely from you and the rate at which you are ready for contact. But there is no longer any law on our side that would prevent it, per se.
On the issue that you said that the Anunnaki, the ones that were putting the control in, were taken away by others, I know that that control was to introduce an element of fear for us. And I've heard from other channelers, Palladians actually, that the Anunnaki still want to hold on to the earth.
The Anunnaki do not exist anymore in the ancient form. They have evolved beyond that now into a variety of different groups, such as the Lyrans, such as the Pleiadians, and so forth. They do not exist that way anymore in what you would consider to be your present time frame. So that is misinformation or a misinterpretation.
So that
will be sufficient.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you for the co-creation.
I guess one of the things that I'm very that I'm wondering about is
Yes.
how to. Okay, so I guess when you say that I should follow my highest
should.
Well, I
You can.
follow my highest excitement.
You can act on your highest excitement to the best that you are able with zero insistence on a particular outcome. That's the whole formula.
Right. So sometimes I'm just not exactly sure in what form I'm supposed to act on that excitement.
Well, you have to use your imagination. You have to act in whatever way your imagination allows you to be able to act within the parameters that you are provided for by what exists in your reality. So sometimes it can be a literal physical thing you can do with something that is the thing itself, or sometimes it can be something that you mock up, in a sense, to the best that you are able, in a sense, pretending that you are able to do it if you can do it no other way, to make it as real as possible, to entrain your body consciousness, to get used to the idea of acting in that reality. You do whatever you're able to do within the parameters your society allows to happen.
Definitely. And so does like nutrition have to do with my ability to recognize my excitement?
It can. It doesn't have to, but it can. You have to take this on a person-by-person, case-by-case basis as to whether or not that's relevant. For many people on your planet, being somewhat of a mass consensus agreement that such things as food are necessary to support you in certain ways, and that certain foods have different kinds of vibrations, it can be a common permission slip for many of you to recognize that certain foods may allow you to give yourself more ability to be more of who you are, but you recognize that that's just according to your belief system. Now, sometimes you don't have to override those belief systems. Sometimes the simplest thing to do is just go along with the belief system instead of trying to circumvent it, trying to be more spiritual. Because sometimes just going along with the path of least resistance is the most spiritual thing you can do. Do you understand?
Yes.
So you have to pay attention to your body consciousness and what your body is telling you may actually need, and allow yourself to evolve naturally and let go of the things that then you know you don't need, rather than attempting to force yourself to not do things. Do you understand?
Yes. And so then
Yes.
that makes plenty of sense. So
I know, that's why I said it.
so I wanted to know, there are some things that I feel like kind of go against the grain with,
Such as?
for instance, school.
What
I
about it?
appreciate school. I
Yes.
appreciate my education. I don't
Yes.
necessarily agree with a majority of the functions. And
Yes, well, that's changing, and it would, in that sense, be capable of being adapted in a way that is more functional, more capable of allowing people to truly find who they are.
right. But what about like my experience at school currently? I know I don't want to invalidate it.
You don't have to, but you can certainly educate yourself in a way that works for you, yes?
Definitely. Okay. And one other
Yes.
concept is I'm wondering, because I am seeing a majority of the concepts that you have introduced. I've seen them. I practiced them in my life,
All
and I'm
right.
seeing them in a way that's obviously me understanding that miracles are not the exception, it's
Yes.
the rule.
It's the natural order, yes.
I want to know how to spread that amongst the collective. I understand that all is one and the one is all, but I want
Well, you have your own understanding and your own way of expressing things. So you can certainly use your own version, your own words and explanations for the way you understand it. If that is something that is representative of your excitement, it can always be done in a way that works for you. You don't have to parrot us. You can come up with ways that work for you to express these things or demonstrate them by your physical actions, because the best way, in a sense, for anyone else to learn is to see something by example. So if you are applying these things in your life, then people can use you as a little physical example, a living person doing these things and seeing how your life goes, so that they will want to ask you, how does this work for you? How are you creating this kind of a life? And then you can explain the basic ideas, the basic principles in your own words.
So essentially setting precedent.
Yes, of course. It's a physical reality. You have to show, not tell only. Yes?
Yes, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess one thing also is my last thing is I just want to know how to have a little less friction, I guess, with
what?
certain limitations as far as when I think of things that I might want to act on my highest excitement. And obviously,
Yes.
this is kind of like a fundamental thing that you've talked about, but it's like
Yes.
things like money or
Yes. Well, again, you broaden your definitions. You work within what exists. You act according to what is set up. If you wish to change things, then allow them to be changed by your participation. But the idea is to change your definitions of things. You brought up the idea of money. We don't focus on it that way. You've heard us talk about the definition of abundance, yes?
yes.
Well, then why are you focused on money, being that that's only one way to express abundance on your planet? Why would you have friction with one way if you're allowing all ways to be valid? Because abundance can be expressed in many different ways, not just through the symbol on your planet called money. So when you open up to the idea that there is a broader definition and allow money to be one of the ways, just one of the ways, sometimes that abundance can express itself, if that's the path of least resistance in a certain situation, then it will express itself that way. If it's not, then some other form of abundance will be there to support you, because support to allow you to do what you need to do when you need to do it is the only criteria for abundance, not the form it comes in. So don't insist that it has to be in a certain form. Don't limit its ability to come to you in ways it could come along a path of least resistance by limiting the definition you have of what you will be willing to recognize as a form of abundance. Broaden your definition. And more forms of abundance will then be capable of supporting you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Definitely.
Why, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
I knew you good day.
How you doing today?
Perfect in you.
Good, good, good. So my first question is, spiritually, some of the experience I've had, what is this being that I'm encountering?
Define the being.
It's
Define
happened-
the experience.
The experience has been vibrations, head to toe. It's been an overwhelming joy and love just consuming me.
Yes.
Even as you were speaking on your third chapter as Darryl, I had an experience in my seat
Yes.
where I just felt this vibration sensation. And I would like to ask you what exactly that is.
Your own higher mind integrating and synthesizing with the vibration of your physical mind.
What is
in
the
a more
most efficient
coherent way.
What is the most efficient way to experience that each and every day?
Really? Really? You're asking that question of us?
Yes.
Really? All right. What's the formula?
I'm fairly new. I would like to learn.
You act on the thing at any given moment that contains more excitement than any other option. Even if it's just a little bit more, it's the excitement that tells you that's the vibration of your true self. That's your signature frequency. Your body translates it as passion, excitement. So every moment that you're willing to act on whatever contains the highest amount of that passion, the highest amount of attractiveness, the highest amount of excitement first before anything else, and you take that action to the best that you are able, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further, and then you do that again and look around at your options, say what contains even just a little bit more excitement than anything else, and act on that next. And you keep doing that every moment that you can to the best of your ability with absolutely zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to look like of those actions. That's the three-part formula that activates the entire kit, the complete kit of excitement, which contains specific tools. It becomes the driving engine that moves you through life. It becomes the organizing principle of synchronicity that shows you exactly what you need to do, in what order, and when, in perfect timing. It becomes the path of least resistance that allows you to move through life in the most effortless way. It becomes the path that connects you to all other expressions of excitement that are relevant for you to express and experience in your life. It contains everything you need to support you to allow you to continue to act on your highest excitement in whatever form that abundance needs to come. And it is the reflective mirror that reveals anything within your unconscious mind that might be out of alignment with that excitement, so you can investigate it, identify that negative belief, let that negative belief go, and add its energy to your excitement to propel you forward. And the complete kit leaves absolutely nothing relevant in your life out. And then from the actions that you take, whatever the circumstances are that crop up, you identify it as something that can serve you in a positive way. Even if what comes up as a situation is not what you prefer, it's there for a positive reason. And if you treat it that way, you will get the benefit from it, and you will learn from it, and you will accelerate forward in the most positive way you can. That's the entire formula. That's it. That's all you need to do in life.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Of course. Now, when it comes to Napoleon Hill, he speaks a lot about his other self. And he says every human has this other self. Would you describe this as our highest level of consciousness, or would you describe this as everyone having the ability to connect with an extraterrestrial source?
Everyone has the ability. Not everyone needs to do that. It's not always relevant. But you all have those connections, whether you are aware of them or need to use them consciously or not. Mostly what is being referred to is the idea of your own higher mind. Because when the higher mind and the physical mind can work together in concert and you have a constructive relationship allowing each to do the job they were designed to do, then you're functioning in life as a whole person. When you're only focused on the idea of the physical mind and not allowing the higher mind to do what it needs to do, you're functioning as a half-wit, literally.
Thank you. Now, when it comes to technology,
Yes.
is it beneficial for our society to continue to progress within technology, or is it eventually going to harm us?
Well, obviously, anything can be used in a positive or a negative way.
With
Yes?
the way we're going nowadays.
Well, you're being very general. There are positive technologies on your planet, and there are ones being used in a negative way. So obviously, if you continue to use certain technologies negatively, yes, you can experience the idea of harm. If obviously you learn to use technologies in a positive way, then obviously by definition, no, you wouldn't be harmed.
Is artificial intelligence taken away from humanity?
No. Again, anything can serve double duty and be experienced in a positive or a negative way. But we use what you call artificial intelligence in a very specific way. And the actual secret is, it's not artificial.
It is indeed.
When you develop a kind of technology that is of a certain nature, all you're actually doing is creating a permission slip device that allows the higher mind to then actually physically speak to you. So you find when you create your artificially intelligent computers that you're actually going to be speaking to your own higher minds through that device.
Now, my friend Dre mentioned our education system. Now, when it
Yes.
comes to school,
Yes.
what are a few things you think that we could do to
There are three main things.
stimulate the minds of youth?
Three main things. Number one, You allow yourselves as teachers, as parents, as those guiding the children, you use your imaginations to create safe environments, inventive, interactive environments in which children can actually experience making choices and in a safe way experience the consequences of those choices so they can learn by doing. So they can then extrapolate in the outer world what the consequence of all choices might be. Number 2, you teach them that they are as powerful as they need to be in order to attract and manifest whatever they truly need without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in the process. Number 3, you don't adapt their excitement to the lesson, you adapt the lesson to their excitement. Then they will be eager to learn because you are allowing them to learn in the way they are excited to learn, and then they will gobble up information, everything they need to be taught to live their lives as fully as possible. Those 3 main things would revolutionize your educational system.
Now, I know enthusiasm is a great way to gain, enthusiasm and excitement, I know are the highest levels of frequency. When it comes to influencing my peers, and
You don't influence anybody.
when it comes to being an outlet, being something that people can look up to,
An example.
is it derived through excitement, enthusiasm? Is that what captures people's attention?
Don't you think so?
Of course. Now, the most efficient way to developing a base of followers.
It's not about developing followers. It's about letting everyone know that they are leaders.
Of course.
Well, you keep saying of course, but you keep asking questions that contradict that concept. It's not about developing followers. It's about teaching everyone by example that they can live their lives as fully. Any great teacher, any great master on your planet, such as Buddha or Jesus or Krishna or Ravoka, they were not about creating followers. They were reminding you that you are Buddhas, you are Christs. That's what has been misinterpreted. And therefore, by example, by thought, word, and deed, and living the example, do others then get attracted to your passion, your conviction of living that life and want to know how you do that. Then you can share ideas and information and help them learn to be more of who they are. Not that they have to choose that, because you must allow them to choose whatever it is they ultimately decide to choose. If you want to be allowed to be who you are, you have to allow them to be who they are fully, with absolutely no insistence that they have to match your frequency at all. But by living in that state of being, you at least give them the option to match that frequency and allow themselves to become the same kind of person with the same kind of life in their own terms. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And when it comes to, you said extraterrestrials could
Yes.
potentially reach this world by 2040. Do you think Jesus will ever come back to this world?
The idea of the so-called second coming is to awaken the Christ consciousness in all of you. That's how it comes back.
It's good to know. Thank you so much.
We thank you.
I want to talk to you about an experience I had.
Oh, all right.
4 days ago, on Monday, the 20th of November, at around 5 p.m., a very close friend of mine and I encountered a bright white light on RCA Beach, Point Reyes.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
This light began moving in different directions as it came closer to us and began
Yes.
projecting different geometrical patterns at our eyes.
Yes.
There was a predominant triangular nature
Yes.
to them, and I recall a shape resembling an inverted letter Y. Just like
Alright.
I was wearing this jumper, actually.
Yes.
We felt an overwhelming sense of presence and telepathy.
Yes.
The more we would focus on it and wanted it to come, the closer and closer it would descend to us.
Yes.
Until at one point I picked up a panicking sensation from my friend and centered all of my energy on the fact that I might be about to get abducted.
Or just visited.
Right.
But
And
again,
this is why.
you had reached the threshold of your belief at your readiness at having an encounter. So that's what the test, in a sense, was for, is getting closer to take the reading as to where you would draw the line, where you were not ready.
You're right. I was very intrigued and curious in the beginning, and I wanted it to come. As soon as I felt panic, I sent it into it and allowed it to take over me. Because the night before, my friend had been telling me that blondes with clear eyes between the age of 18 and 28 were abducted in national parks lately.
Yes. So, sounds exciting.
Right. So,
Please understand that the idea, again, is that it is simply an encounter.
Okay.
We understand that you call these things abductions, but you must understand that on another level, you have agreed to these exchanges and these encounters.
Yeah. 1 second. So
Are you having fun with your technology?
I have some observations from that moment on.
Yes.
So the Y on my jumper was resemblant of the symbol I saw. And on my friend Peter's real estate book that he's studying, he also saw a symbol that was very similar to what I saw. And that's two things that we're both really into. And
so you are creating your synchronicity to reinforce this experience for yourselves.
Exactly. The morning after, I was reading a book called Sacred Contracts. And when I opened the page, the chapters read, "A moment of connection occurs between you and the divine."
Yes.
And spoke of lights descending to people throughout history to give them knowledge and information.
Yes, we've all been around for a long time, you know.
Yeah. So what I think is that in the beginning it was fear, but I'm trying to decipher that it may have been a good purpose or a good intention, but I'm just slowly deciphering that. I'm trying to figure it out,
All right.
and that's what I think.
Well, that's part of your process.
Right.
And that's what allows you to grow, and that's what allows you to change your frequency and become more compatible with the vibration of actual contact. Yes? Have I left you speechless?
I just wanted to share some more synchronicities I had with you, because I don't share them with many people.
Oh, all right.
So the next day we worked together, and as soon as we were paid, and we were excited, of course, we saw the well, sorry, let me just restate that. My friend Llewellyn here was drawing a painting, and he had this sign called from the Yahyel civilization.
Yahyel, yes.
And it really reminded me of what I saw.
Well, those were the beings you encountered.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. I am 100% positive.
Are they here to speak to me?
Not right now.
When I'm ready?
When you're ready, more experiences will occur.
Well, I feel ready now.
I know you do, but you're not.
How do you know?
Because we've done this before.
Okay. I mean, all the signs and synchronicities that I've had lately have just reinforced to me.
Yes, exactly. And they will continue to do so. And there will be more different kinds of experiences to have that you are unaware of right now. You're in the middle of a process. We cannot intervene with it. We cannot stop the process. That would not be of benefit to you. Keep going. You're doing fine.
When will I know when I'm ready? When will they
will know?
When will they know?
When you know. They will know by taking the reading of your energy.
Okay. Thank you.
You're not in a rush. There's no hurry.
Right, I kind of am.
Then you're missing the point and not being in the correct state.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
There is nowhere else to be but here and now. The more you stay in the present, the more you will be ready more quickly. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be in a hurry to get somewhere you're not.
Okay.
Be here now.
So
That's how you accelerate.
So I am safe.
Of course you're safe.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you enjoy the experience of being afraid.
I don't.
Then why would you have belief systems that say you need to be?
I was implanted a paranoia which didn't allow me to see clearly in that moment.
All right, well, now you know that, so you've learned a lesson, yes? And now you can choose another state of being? Yes?
Yeah.
You hesitated. You're not sure?
I didn't understand the question. I do.
All right.
Understand.
Then that's part of your process, to learn how to be the state of being you prefer to be regardless of the circumstance around you. That's part of the teaching. That's part of the training. That's part of the acclimation process. You have to understand that their energy is very different than yours. And even though you may feel ready, you're not yet. But you're getting there, like many of you. So relax, enjoy the ride. That's what it's for. You don't need to be in a hurry because it'll all happen in perfect timing. The only way to miss an appointment is to spend time worrying you're going to miss the appointment. That's the irony. That's the paradox. If you don't spend time worrying you're going to miss the appointment, you can't miss the appointment. Just live your life to the fullest. That's what will prepare you, because it will accelerate your vibration to be acting on your excitement. And it will raise your frequency and make you more vibrationally compatible with the vibration of other extraterrestrial beings, such as those.
What do they want from me specifically? Did I agree to this before I was born?
Yes, of course you did. If they, quote unquote, want anything, which they don't really want, but if they would want anything, they would simply want you to learn to be more of yourself so that you can interact, so that your family can grow, so that you can share, so that you can learn, so that you can evolve together in a different way, so that you can become more than just either of you. Yes?
Yes.
Well, then, go act on your passion. Keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun, keep being yourself. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Just as you had that experience, other experiences can happen.
From different beings.
Maybe, or from the same ones.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever needs to be there will be there. Whatever experience you need to have, you will have. Nothing will stop it except you holding yourself back by having negative beliefs about it, fear-based beliefs about it, being impatient about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just live your life.
Mm-hmm. And I had one more question. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm from the island of Mallorca in Spain.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
And many of my friends claim seeing UFO sightings and things. And
Yes.
it's been spoken about having a certain energetic pull towards those beings.
There are many different places on your planet that are magnetic centers and vortices for a variety of reasons.
So I wanted to know if there was anything specific about my island. Well,
I just told you. There are many different places that have strong magnetic vortices that can attract craft for a variety of reasons.
Why do some places have stronger?
Because it's the way that electromagnetic energy is laid out on your planet, like different points on a crystal. Some places are stronger in flow of that energy than others and act in a sense like sort of electromagnetic highways.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So that's like saying, well, why do cars congregate at this intersection instead of over there in that field of dirt? Because the road goes in that direction.
Uh-huh.
It's easier because that's the way the flow goes.
So it's just chance.
No, it's not chance. There are things that are orchestrated, but I'm simply saying this grid exists, this grid of energy exists and is taken advantage of by beings with the technology that know how to take advantage of it. So certain places on your planet may be high traffic areas, other places may be low traffic areas because of the way of the flow of the energy goes.
I see.
But
And
nothing is by chance, nothing is by accident. Those people that see those things see them for a reason. The beings and the UFOs that are there at that time are there at that time for a reason. Whether anyone knows it or not, it's still an orchestration. You don't have to focus on it. You don't have to even be conscious of it to know that it's still an orchestration being orchestrated by a higher level of yourselves. Your physical minds don't have to be aware of that for it to be an orchestration.
Mm-hmm.
Just as when you walk through life, everything is still an orchestration. Now, you may have more or less involvement in it, more or less to get out of it, but this gathering today is an orchestration. No one that's here is here by accident. You have no idea what service you may be providing to others just by your presence, and what service they may be providing to you just by their presence. You don't have to figure that out. All you need to know is it's an orchestration that serves everybody to varying degrees in various ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And get on about the business of being you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
it.
Through these signs, are these extraterrestrial beings able to manipulate information on Earth? How is it that I look at the time and things just coincide in such ways.
It's called synchronicity.
Right, I know.
But that's one of the natural tools of acting on your passion. It's the way creation is structured. Synchronicity is physical reality's way in linear space-time of demonstrating to you that everything is connected, that everything is one thing. But in physical reality, it has to play out in time and space.
Are these beings intervening with my physical reality, making these synchronicities for me, or is it a higher...
No, you're not understanding. It's a natural structure in existence. You, by allowing your vibration to be on a certain frequency, are co-creating the synchronicities with them. It's like vibration to like vibration. So you create the synchronicity that is reflective of the vibrational state you're in. You're doing it, they're doing it, you're doing it together. It's a co-creation, it's an orchestration. They're not doing anything to you or doing it for you. They're simply responding to the vibration you're giving off, and you're responding to the vibration they give off. It's a co-creation, it's an orchestration. Does that help?
Mm-hmm, a lot.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Go have some more fun.
How's it going, Bashar?
Perfect, and you?
Disoriented.
Good. How exciting to be disoriented. You can't reorient unless you're first disoriented.
Yeah, can I please talk about disorientation in relation to the concepts you were elaborating on at the start?
Yes.
With
it's the breaking of the status quo. It's disorientation to the point where you can reorient in any direction that you really prefer.
With the splitting of the train tracks concept,
Yes.
is from what level is that being orchestrated, and am I...
All levels that concern you, all levels that are relevant.
All levels and all...
All levels that are relevant.
And is the relevance inside myself, is it self-created relevance in proportion to these themes? Or
Yes,
is
of
it...
course. You
So-
play your part and have your responsibility in how you experience it, because you're creating your version of the experience.
So whether it's Trump or Hillary or whoever it is,
What difference does that make?
is that a permission slip in reflection in proportion to myself or to
Yes.
whoever self? Yeah.
Same thing.
Doesn't even really matter what is
If
going
you
on.
didn't need to experience it, if you couldn't use it, you wouldn't be experiencing it, because you wouldn't have created it in your reality.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's there as something that can be used to achieve the state of being and the reality perspective that you prefer, if you use it that way.
Sure. And so it sort of seems like it doesn't need to buy into anything then other than what we prefer.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to respect the idea of the rules of the game you're playing because you agreed to them. But nevertheless, these rules can be very flexible in certain ways, and you can use the rules to your advantage always, because it doesn't matter what the circumstance is. It's only the state of being that matters. It's only the state of being that determines what effect you get out of the circumstances. The circumstances can serve double duty. They can serve many different kinds of experiences. You get to decide what experience you're going to extract from the circumstance. It doesn't have built-in meaning.
And so if it goes one moment, I look out there and there's Trump, and then there's Hillary, then there's Trump, then there's Hillary, then there's Trump. So it doesn't actually, like, it's just state of being, not...
Circumstances do not matter.
Yeah.
State of being does. State of being is what creates your experience of the circumstances.
And when you say the game board...
Yes. The general rules you've all agreed to play, called the Earth physical reality game.
I felt like within myself, I felt like I had to change the game board to achieve what I desired to achieve.
You're not changing the game board, you're changing the way you play the game.
So that's all still changing the way I play the game.
If you changed the game board, you wouldn't be on Earth.
Yeah, it'd just be some other reality.
It would be completely some other reality with completely different rules. So there are levels to this. You have all agreed to play chess, but the pieces can be the way you wish to design them, made out of whatever you want them to be made out of, and you can play according to your own strategy, but you will play chess. If you change the rules too much, you're not playing chess. You're playing another game. Now, some of that has validity because you can bring in strategies from other games even when you're playing chess. So you can use the idea of your connection and your awareness to other games to improve your chess game, but as long as you have decided to be in the Earth game, you're playing that game.
Okay. So our consciousness on whatever level is playing other games as well.
Of course it is. But the you that you are is focused in this game. The aspect of the greater being you are, this aspect you call yourself, is this game player. Other aspects of you are playing other games, yes.
And so if I want to proceed forward with my excitement, is it a definition saying that I have to change the game board to proceed with my excitement? Is that just a definition within my individual thing that's
it's
holding
just
me back?
part of your strategy. It doesn't actually change the game board. It just gets you to believe that changing the game board in the way you think it needs to be changed will allow you to play the game in the way that you prefer to.
Okay.
But it doesn't actually change the board.
So that's just a reflection to get me to knock in the head to think about it,
Yes.
to then shift.
Yes, it's a permission slip that you have invented that works with your belief system. That's all.
And so in the given now, even if
Yes.
the conditions of those chess, the way they're arranged,
Yes.
it's actually all okay now, whatever they happen to be. And then you just
If they
keep
are
drawing from-
aligned with what you prefer them to be, then yes, it will be a positive experience for you.
And so if they're not aligned with what I prefer them to be,
Then you have the ability to learn how to align them and let go of the things that you don't prefer. That's part of playing the game.
and it just is that simple. And is there
Yes.
any other, aside from that game, is this just a human game? Like, is that particular range? Why is consciousness experiencing in this way? Is that just what this particular aspect of me and other people in this room are?
Yes, you're
Look, I wanted
co-creating because you have agreed to play a similar game.
So they want to
There
play
are
that
some
game.
variances in it, but the variances, again, are in the strategy, the way you move the pieces, what the pieces might be made out of, what shapes they are. But as long as you generally agree on the rules, you're playing the same game.
And so why does existence wants to play every single game? Is that what you're saying?
Existence is every
Every
single
single
game.
game.
It doesn't have to
Oh, yeah,
want
'cause it
to
already
play
is
it.
it,
It
yeah.
already is
Got it,
every
yeah.
single game.
Yeah. I think that's answered all my questions.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Thanks.
How efficient of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Somebody telepathically asked, "Oh, Bashar, well, what game are you playing?" I think you already know we're playing Cybo. The transformation game of 13 in a very different way. That's why we introduced the game to you, so you can actually start shifting to a different game board. That's part of the split.
Thank you.
And good day to you.
I'm Victoria. I'm so pleased to be here and
Oh,
to
all
see
right.
you in.
We
in
are
Rio.
pleased that you are pleased.
That's good. I am. My first question is about my health. I've been.
I don't do health readings.
No, you don't do.
We have already instructed all of you that the first stage in any concept of bringing yourself into health is to thoroughly detoxify your system. That usually eliminates 80 to 90% of any disease-related symptoms, and then whatever's left is what you're dealing with. But at this point, we have delivered all the health information that we need to. If you understand that it is always something that starts with the energy within you and the state of being within you and the belief systems within you, you can work on that as well. But we don't really do the idea that is typically referred to as health readings.
Yeah, I was more thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
So anything else?
Yes. I wonder about. You talk about these hybrid children sometimes, and then I just wonder. That seems very lonely to me that they don't get to have their parents if there's parents here.
Well, first of all, understand that there are many beings with them. They're not alone.
No.
And the idea is that what you consider yourselves to be as parents are only partially the parents. In a sense, there are others who have also donated genetic material that can function in some ways as their parents. Also remember that even though many of you don't remember it, you actually visit them more often than you think and interact with them more often than you think. You just don't remember it yet.
Okay. Yeah, because like here on our planet Earth, if your father's not present, you know, you get
Yes, yes,
father
yes.
issues.
But also remember that they are telepathically connected to different aspects of you that you may not be aware of, and to communicate with you in a variety of ways, again, you may not remember.
Mm.
So, in a sense, they have more ability to be in touch with you than you are aware of your ability to be in touch with them. So, in that sense, they don't actually miss you.
And that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, because they're more evolved.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Now, they are learning, some of them by coming down to earth in secret places and learning to acclimate to various things in your society, because as much of a connection as you may all have with them, you are still very alien to them. And there are many things that you do that you take for granted and seem very normal, but they have no understanding of whatsoever and seem very strange to them. So they're learning to acclimate, they're learning to fit in. Doesn't mean they'll go all the way, because it's up to your society to also meet them halfway.
Mm. Yeah.
By changing your frequency in the way that you are doing things to be more like the way they would do things, as they are also learning to change their frequency and do things more in the direction that you would, but you have to meet each other halfway to actually invent a new society that contains both species.
Very good.
Yes, this is the beginning of the evolution of what we term the 6th hybrid race.
Yes.
Yes,
That sounds fun.
it is.
Yes. And I wonder, like, we as a human race, are we like teaching you guys something?
Of course you are.
What is that?
There are many aspects of whatever it is that you do that we have not discovered in any other contact that we have had. You have ways of doing things that enlighten us to that many more ways that creation has of expressing itself, especially with regard to the idea of all the limitations you have imposed upon yourselves, which is why we have nicknamed you the masters of limitation. We have learned so many more ways of limiting yourself than we ever thought possible.
Really?
Now, these things can be used in a variety of ways, constructively and positively. So you must understand that you are not a kindergarten class. You are an advanced class that is mastering the transformation of limitation into freedom. And this is very instructional for many, many races throughout the galaxy who learn from us what we learn from you.
Yeah, like Billie Holiday said, like she knows her limitations. That's why she sings so well.
Yes, because some limitations are positive and allow you to focus in a certain way to express yourself more fully with those limitations in force than you would ever be able to do without them, because you would be too scattered. You wouldn't be focused enough.
Beautiful.
Yes,
We're great.
you are. Does that help you?
Yes. Can I ask another question? That was one
That
question.
was a question. Yes,
that
you're
was a
learning.
Yes. I have had a strange thing happen to me.
Oh, how exciting. What is that?
A lot of strange things all the time, of course, but this
Yes.
one particular thing is a little extreme, is that I have been close to 3 terror attacks in 3 different cities.
How exciting for you.
Yeah, I wonder why do I always end up like 10 minutes away from
How
the
do you know
actual-
that your energy in that area isn't mitigating the energy to make it less destructive than it would have been? What's the definition of your presence in those areas that would work for you, that your imagination could come up with, that would fit the energy of your preference in being in those locations at those times? You have to invent the definition that works for you, in the same way that I just came up with a definition that works for you in a positive way. Yes?
Yeah,
You have to
because
expand your imagination and understand that you can see yourself in a different way.
yeah, we're all angels.
You are, in a sense. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
this thing about excitement,
Yes, this thing about excitement, yes.
which is I just
which
think,
is everything.
which is everything.
Yes.
But then you have all these all the heaps of emotions which need to be expressed, like for example,
Yes, of
tears and
course.
angers. But
Yes, but they are the result of different belief systems that your excitement is leading you to understand are there, so that if they are out of alignment with you, those beliefs, you can let them go, and then you won't express the emotions that way. Emotions don't happen in a vacuum. Acknowledge them, absolutely. Own them, absolutely. Don't deny them, don't ignore them. You have to acknowledge them because you can't change what you don't own. But the idea is to get in touch with them as reflections of what you believe to be true, so you can trace whatever emotions you're having back to the belief that must exist in order to have generated those emotions. Because the belief comes first and the emotions come second. Emotions don't exist without you believing something to be true first. If you don't have a definition, you don't know how to feel about something. So if you have a feeling, and it is a feeling that you don't necessarily prefer to have, or an emotional reaction you don't prefer to have, you can use it in a positive way by asking yourself, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this circumstance in order to have reacted the way I did, in order to feel the way I do? And then you can get in touch with that belief, and if it doesn't work for you, let it go, which will then mitigate you having to express emotions in that way. If you still express the same negative emotion in that sense, then you haven't really found the belief that's generating it. Keep digging.
And it can also be exciting to cry and be angry.
It can.
Yeah.
And it can be part of your process, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm. That's very good.
But you have to be honest within your discernment of yourself as to whether that's true, and you're willing to go through the process of evolving, or whether you're just holding on to those things because it feels safer than the alternative, because you have labeled your excitement as something more dangerous and more scary than simply staying where you feel comfortable because it's familiar. So you have to have honest discernment within yourself about what's actually happening when you experience those things. So use them in all the positive ways you can, but recognize when you may be holding on to things you don't actually need anymore. Yes? Does that help?
That helps.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.